exploring and learning on the road. Furman's Family Road Trip.
We've been on the road since September of 2016, and we just got back from an epic trip to Alaska where we saw more rookie RVers than we ever have in the past. In addition, we've been getting a lot of messages from RVers that are just starting their full-time adventure. So we've decided to put together this video and talk about some things that help us getting set up. This video is being sponsored by Road&home, and I was actually surprised when they sent us their Ready for the Road checklist at how accurate this checklist was compared to what we carry with us on our adventure. So, whether you're new to the RV lifestyle, a weekend warrior, or have been traveling full-time for years, this list should help you decide on some items to carry with you. So, whether you are a seasoned RV veteran, a weekend warrior, or just getting started, here's a list of items that should help you get set up, whether it's your cousin's driveway, the local state park, an RV resort, or off the beaten path out boondocking. So the first thing you do when you pull into a site is you get your RV nice and level. In a perfect world, you'd back onto a pad. You wouldn't need to do anything other than unhook it, put your jacks down, and voila, you're level. Unfortunately, for most of us, that is not the case. So the first thing we do when we get parked into a spot is we jump inside and we grab our levels. We check front to back, side to side. I've been meaning to put some bubble levels on our RV, but we just haven't yet. I would definitely consider getting some bubble levels. It's real easy. You just get the RV in a good level spot, you mount them, and then you use them as a reference point the next time you come in. For us, we use these. We level it based on the floor in our main area, which is about the center of the RV. So we get it to it where it's level, front to back, left to right, and we use mainly a lot of blocks. Our RV didn't come with an automatic leveling system, so we use these blocks for everything come to leveling. We put them under the tires, we put them under the rear jacks, we put them under the front jacks. We've even used these underneath that sewer hose support when we've been in places where it drops too much and I need it to get up a little ways. We have, I want to say, 4 sets of these. They're all interchangeable, so that way I can put them in any configuration. I do have a couple different colors, but they still stack on top of each other and they come in handy. And then when one gets too bad, we throw it away, and then when I need more, I just add another set to it. Another thing we've used in the past, when we had our travel trailer, we had what's called Anderson levelers. They're shaped almost like a teardrop, and you can back onto them or pull onto them with your trailer, and it'll level them in equal increments under both tires. Great system. Unfortunately, our tires were too close, and I could not use them with this RV. Fresh potable water is very important. You bathe in it, you drink it, you wash your dishes with it. You know, it's pretty important to have good, safe drinking water. So here's some things that you need to have your RV hooked up to water or getting it filled. First, let's talk about a hose. I know hose is kind of a gimme, but do you have enough hose? Do you have extra hose? So we carry with us usually at least 1 extra hose. Right now we actually have 2. We don't always need the extra hose, but in some situations where the spigot's been far away or whatnot, it's been great to have an extra set of hoses. Or what happens if the hose breaks or dry rots or it gets kinked and it splits? You know, you need to have extra hose. Nothing worse than showing up at a campground, hooking up to water, and having the water leak all over because your hose is no good. You need to make sure it's drinking water safe and able to handle the pressure of the water coming in. So typically we have 60 feet of hose in line with the faucet. Most times that's been great. There has been some instances where we've needed more hose. In addition to extra freshwater hose, we do carry 1 extra, we call it a dirty hose, and that's for hooking into our sprayers that clean the tanks. You never want to hook a freshwater drinking water hose into your tank cleaner. It does backflow and you can get yourself sick or somebody sick if you hook up your freshwater hose to your black tank. Water filters, we use a home filter system. We got it from RV filter stores. We'll show you right over here. Alright, so this is my filter setup. It has 2 filters. The first one is a charcoal filter and the second one is a fine filter. The water comes directly into it and out and into the RV. Next thing you need to have is water pressure regulators. The campground that we're staying at is a perfect example. We came in, we hooked up, I did not put a regulator in line, and the water pressure was tremendous, and an actual leak started on our toilet from having the extra pressure. There's a couple different types of water pressure regulators. One is a simple inline one. It's pretty simple. Goes on the faucet, the other end goes to your hose. This style regulator regulates it down to 45 to 50 psi. Another one that I carry with me is an adjustable one. It's got a gauge. You can adjust the pressure. This is great for when the water pressure is not the greatest, because then you can crank it up, maybe above what this one is allowing through. You can just fine tune it more, get it down in that safe zone so you still have optimum pressure. Some other random parts that I carry around for water are a 90-degree elbow. I actually have several of these. I'll show you how we use it. So there's the 90-degree, straight down, out the hole. Quick hose, quick connect and disconnects. These help when setting up and tearing down. I'll come over here and show you how I use those. That simple. And then come over here. Have one on the other end. I go up through the port in the bottom. Can you see it? And up in there. Now I'm all hooked up. We also have a dual splitter with shut-off valves for the hose. Come here and I'll show you how we use that. Here's my Y. I can shut off the water to the RV right here, or I can add another hose and do whatever I need to it from there. Tank filler with shut-off valve. This is for filling our tank for when we're out boondocking. This is nice because it has a valve on it and it fits right into the filler hole, and then you can control the water. So once it's full and it starts coming out the overflow, you can shut it off without having to run back to the faucet. You can shut it off, use it to fill up other things without wasting water. We carry a lot of extra hose washers. These are good to have because you never know when you unhook something if one might fall out and you miss it. They go bad, they get torn, they get compressed and break. So it's always good to have a few of these extras sitting around. They also make them with screens so it can catch any of the debris coming through. It's just good safety measure for your water system. Another thing we carry is hose clamps. These are great if you have a breakdown in the hose and you need to repair it. These come in handy. Alright, so what goes in must come out. So literally, water goes into the RV, you have to get it out of the RV somehow. Sewer. So this is a dirty job. Everybody's seen the movie RV. And the black tank incident. You're not a real full-fledged RVer if you haven't had one of those incidents, right? Anyway, so some things we carry with us for sewer. Hose. Extra hose. So I have a brand new extra one here. I have a 15-foot length in use, and then I do have a couple smaller sections to use. Most of the time the sewer connection is really easy to get to. There have been some instances where I've needed 2 sections. I've had some stuff break. You know, it's always good to have an extra one. If you can't get the sewer from your RV to the hole in the ground without spilling it or dumping it, you got issues. So extra hose. I would have at least 2 hoses and then a backup. And then a variety of different sewer hose adapters. Sewer hose adapters. If you have to cut a corner, if you need like a 45-degree angle, or let's say your hose breaks and you need to actually, you could cut it down and still have a good hose. You know, we have several different shapes and turns of adapters on hand to be able to reach the sewer outlet, or to make repairs to a hose if need be. Next thing is the sewer hose support. The sewer hose sets up, you know, right off your RV, and normally it's going down, so the hose support will actually carry it in an incline, so all that nasty stuff that's in there won't just sit in there, it'll actually run downhill into the sewer hose. Some other random parts I keep around for sewer are some of these larger hose clamps. These ones are nice because they have the handle. These ones are also from Road&home. I keep these around in case I need to make a repair to a hose on the fly. I keep a couple extra waste caps. I don't have one handy with me, but just in case you lose one, I've driven away without my cap a couple different times, and it's good to have extras. So new RVs are filled with bells and whistles, and those bells and whistles all need electricity to chirp and sing to you. So the next thing we're going to talk about is electricity. There are a couple different standards for RV electricity. 30 amp and 50 amp would be them. 30 amp would be for the smaller units, 50 amp would be for the larger units. Just kind of depends on the electrical loads that are within the RV. Usually electricity is simple. You just back into your spot, you grab your cord and you plug it in. But when it's not that simple, it could cause a lot of issues and make you have a rough day. First thing you should have is an extension cord. This RV park we're in right now is another great example of that. Our standard cord is not long enough to reach the pedestal we have to plug into, so we have an extension cord to get us the rest of the way. Whether you're 30 amp or 50 amp, you should have the size of cord that you need for your system, and so you're able to plug into the pedestal no matter how far it is away, within reason. This is something that you don't need until you do need it. We traveled for 6 months without having one, and then all in a blink of an eye I needed one, and I had to rush out and buy one in order to be able to plug in. So definitely recommend having an extension cord for your RV's electrical system. In addition, if you're going to ever be plugging into 110 and you need cord, make sure you have a good quality 110 extension cord, not just a $9.99 Walmart special, but a really good thick gauge extension cord. Alright, so the next thing is a power adapter. We talked about how RVs are 30 or 50 amp. Well, what happens if we pull our 50 amp RV into a 30 amp spot? Then all of a sudden we have no way to plug in. So you need power adapters. We carry a couple different varieties around with us. The most common one though is going to be a female of the 50 amp to a male 30 amp. This means I can plug it into my cord and plug this into the 30 amp plug and still have power. Now it's still not going to be as powerful as if I was plugged into 50 amp, but everything's going to work for the most part, and as long as I don't put everything under a strenuous load, then it's going to work out just fine. I do carry a couple of these around just in case we have to do various connections. The power adapter that we've used second most besides the 50 to 30 is the 110 adapter. So if we stayed at a family member's driveway and they don't obviously have a 30 or a 50 amp pedestal, we still want to have some electricity, maybe for our fridge, keep our battery charged, simple things like that. So you get this adapter, you plug it into the end of your cable, it'll plug into a normal outlet, so you can still power the basics in your RV. Last thing we'll talk about with electricity is the surge protector. Should have probably talked about this first, because when I plug into a pedestal, my surge protector is the first thing I plug into the pedestal, because that's going to protect my RV and all of my electrical equipment from any surges or low voltage. We use an inline one that just gets pulled out and plugged in. There are hardwired ones which we may switch to eventually. A surge protector is definitely something you should have. It'll protect your RV and all of your gadgets inside. Let's go take a look at mine. This is the surge protector we use. It's a Camco 50 amp. It goes in line with the cord to the rig. It just plugs right into the outlet. Eventually I probably will get a hardwired one, but this is what we've been using for now, and it's done well for us. Alright, so the last thing you need is a good positive attitude. Travel days can be very stressful. I know, I've done many travel days. Sometimes you pull in and it's a rough entrance into a park. Sometimes you're not communicating great with your spotter. Sometimes maybe the trees are too close. So keep calm, have a great attitude, get yourself parked, level, and hooked up, and life will be much easier for you. I'll tell you, it's nice that a lot of the campgrounds and RV parks that you'll pull in will sell a lot of these items. Unfortunately, if you need this extension cord, it would be a necessity buy, and you would be overspending. Whereas if you plan ahead, you can get it from Amazon, Lowe's, other places like that, that you're going to get a better price. And even though you may not use it for a period of time, when you need it, you need it. By traveling with these items, and extras and spares if you can, you'll always be prepared no matter what happens and what situation arises when you pull into a campground. Road and Home has put together an excellent checklist. It's called the Ready for the Road checklist, and I was actually very surprised when I got this at how accurate it is compared to what we carry in our RV. The nice thing about Road and Home parts is that they are available from Amazon, Lowe's, or if you're lucky enough, at a Menards. Check them out at www.roadandhome.com. In the description below, you're going to find a link for an Amazon store that's set up with primarily a lot of these parts and the parts we've talked about today. So I suggest taking a look, and if you need any of those parts, Amazon typically is the best price that you can find. If you have any other questions, definitely shoot us a comment below, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you down the road.